Hello and welcome to the 6th round of the Dutch Supercar Challenge at the circuit of Zolder in Belgium. We start with Saturday's race, GT's and Supersport 1. It's pole position for the Mosler MT900R of Milko Tas and Niels Bauhaus.
De snelheid is er.
Well, we've already shown that we can be very fast. At the round in Assen we also took pole position. At Spa we had to use the T car, so that one didn't really count. And here in Zolder we set the best lap time again in qualifying, so we should be able to win. Milko Tas, however, is less confident. We don't have that much experience with this car because we dropped out of every race with technical difficulties. However, we aren't new to racing, so we should do fine and maybe even win the race. So let's talk you through the starting grid. It's Niels Bauhaus and Cor Oeser first row, then Rikke Bresch in the Corvette, and Diederik Seithoff leader in the championship in the Viper SRT10. Roger Grauwels in the Corvette again, and Robert de Graaf in the Audi completes row number 3. Row number 4, Dick Vetnansky in the Praga R4S, and Alex van 't Hoff in the Mosler MT900R. Rolling start in the Dutch Supercar Challenge, waiting for the lights, and they're off. And a good start for Niels Bauhaus in the Mosler. We're on board with Errol Ertan, and even a better start for him because he takes the lead in Supersport 1, gaining 3 places already. He's behind Roger Grauwels, Dick Vetnansky on the outside in the orange Praga R4S. On board with Wolf Nathan, started from pole position but couldn't benefit from his start. But it's Bert van der Zwede who takes advantage in the canal corner, taking the lead in Supersport 1 in the BMW Silhouette, the black and orange car. And let's watch the Mondeo there. That's Nelson on the pole. He's fighting for second position. He started 6th. So still Niels Bauhaus, Cor Oeser, Diederik Seithoff. That's the first 3. Then a bit of a gap to the Audi. Audi should benefit from this technical circuit. On board with Wolf Nathan. It's not going well. He's been sandwiched there by 2 cars. And that's the Mondeo of Barry Maassen and the Porsche of Charlie Frans. There seems to be a problem on board the Porsche of pole sitter Wolf Nathan because he's steadily dropping back into the field. Leader still Niels Bauhaus in the Mosler. A bit of a gap to Cor Oeser, and then 3 wide, 4 wide. No, it's Alex van 't Hoff who takes the Audi for 4th place in the GT class. And that's Rikke Bresch coming up there strongly in the yellow and black Corvette, the C6R, and he's really putting it to the Audi. Robert de Graaf has to do everything to keep that little Audi in front of the big Corvette, and he's now in 6th place, but he has a lust for more. There he is, past the Audi, full and hard on the brakes for the chicane, coming out of the first corner and up the hill, and something's wrong. There's the pole sitter. He's gone off, and another car gone off, and that's Barry van Elk with the Praga R4S. What's happened there? We're on board with pole sitter Wolf Nathan. Whoa, something very wrong there. Braking for the chicane. Here we see it again, and hitting the Praga R4S of Barry van Elk as he goes down. In the pits, Jaap van Lager, ex-WTCC driver, looking on. Car seems to be repaired, but of course he's out of contention for the win, and the same goes for Barry van Elk with a heavily damaged Praga R4S. Well, after preparing and tweaking the car all week long, we finally managed to get the car ready for the first race, and after 3 laps somebody crashed into me. My suspension is bent, I lost my rear wing, and basically we're done for the day. So let's take a look at the race again. That's Roger Grauwels in the C5 Corvette, overtaking the Praga R4S for position number 7. Oh, and there's something wrong there. That's a big one. That seems to be Bob Seithoff father of championship leader Didrik Saitov in the Viper. We're on board with him. Sees his father crashed. Everything okay? There's a thumbs up, and he follows through. This is what happened. Oh, that's top speed and whammy into the tyre wall. And he's very lucky that there is a tyre wall there. Here you are again, he's on the grass. This grass is still very wet, of course, and there's no braking whatsoever. Hitting the Armco and the tyre wall. Bob Saitov was taken to hospital briefly, but he's out of hospital now and seems to be doing much better. Of course, a prolonged safety car situation well into the pit stop zone. So we're after the pit stops, and leader is Milko Tuss in the Mosler, but hot on his heels is Rikke Bresch with the Corvette. And he's on the inside, and that's it. No, it's not, because Milko's trying to fight back. Is there any way to get back at this Corvette? No, there isn't. And we're looking at first place after the pit stop in the Supersport 1 division. And it's a 1-2-3 for the Mondeos. It's Nelson van der Poel leading, but challenger on the outside is Jackie van den Ende. No, he's still in second place. Barry Marson in third. Lovely to see these big Mondeos doing so well on this track. And another safety car situation. Something has happened. And what has happened? Well, look at this one. This one was really very unnecessarily. Wilfred Herder being torpedoed by, well, what can only be described as a stupid move by Koos van Merkstein, doing a one-off in the Dutch Supercar Challenge. Basically punting off one of the championship regulars. And that was completely uncalled for, and he was disqualified for the weekend. There he is, the culprit. Anyway, started to rain, and that made things very, very slippery and exciting. Milko Tuss doing very well in the wet. He's leading now in the Mosler, and in third place now, Cor Ozer, but he's challenging for second on the inside, and there's Audi van der Hoek in the Audi. So let's take a look at that. We're on board with the Viper, Didrik Saitov in fifth place, fourth place Audi, third place is Rikke Bresch in the Corvette, and Cor Ozer is finding a way to the front to challenge for first place. Didrik Saitov, oh, and there's Audi van der Hoek again. Oh, that's very close there. Close racing in the Dutch Supercar Challenge, exciting as always. Cor Ozer. And he's behind them. He's in a position to attack, but he doesn't. I think he lets him live there. They haven't seen the finish line in this car yet, and now they're leading. Milko Tuss must be very nervous with Cor Ozer, the intimidator, filling his rearview mirror. Oh, he's getting close now. There might have even been contact there. Bit of a lock-up. Braking. For the chicane again, Cor Ozer accelerating out, and look at Audi van der Hoek getting closer and closer. He's put some air between him and Didrik Saitov, no worries there. So he can put all his attention to these two who are fighting hammer and tongs for every inch of this circuit. Audi van der Hoek, we're on board with him. There's Cor Ozer, there's the move, and he's in first place. Milko closes the door on Audi van der Hoek in the Audi. On board with the Audi. Audi van der Hoek. The Mosler accelerating away from him. A bit more power in the Mosler, but under braking the Audi is much, much better. Here you can see it closing up again. Accelerating out. It's still the Mosler in second place. Cor Ozer has disappeared in the distance. And because these two are fighting now, it's Didrik Saitov who is attacking for fourth place. Now he is in fourth place. He's attacking for third. bit of a brake test there. Oh, and he's on the outside, outbraking the Mosler. But we have to say that Milko Tuss left him a lot of room to pass on the outside. Defending on the inside and falling victim to the classical move there. That's Dietrich Seithoff. Whoa, what an action. And it's action-packed in the Dutch Supercar Challenge. Dietrich Seithoff goes off, pays the penalty for his bold move there on the Mosler. You can see it again. Oh, Mosler braking, and Seithoff basically had no other way to go but into the gravel, which is more like sand in Zolder. But it was all for naught, because we see in the background how a rear tire puncture sort of ends the race for Milko Tuss, and he is out of contention. At the same time, he's very lucky not being torpedoed by one of the other cars, and that's Rick Bresch. And Dietrich Seithoff driving the Viper like it's in Paris-Dakar Spac, leaving a dust trail all over the place and falling victim to his own dust as well. Anyway, as an excuse, we can say that he's still very impressed and his mind occupied with the crash of his father. Corroso wins this one easily. The circumstances were very difficult, but I managed to take the win with this old thing. So I had a great race and I gave it all, and it's very rewarding. Adi van der Hoek and Robert de Graaf in second place, and Rick Bresch in the Corvette in third. Roger Grauwels finishes in fourth place, Alex van Hoff in fifth, and Dietrich Seithoff, leader in the championship, in sixth place. He's still the leader in the championship. If we look at the standings, Van der Hoek and de Graaf in second place, and Roger Grauwels now in third. And in Supersport 1, it's Nelson van der Pol taking the win. Yeah, what can I say? This is very special. It's the first win with the Ford Mondeo this season. It's a great feeling. And we managed to update the car and make it even faster. It will be unbeatable. Now, let's take a look at this race. Nelson van der Pol winning it, Jackie van Ende in second place, but Bert van der Zweerde in third. And he scores important points for the championship because he's the only one of the championship contenders, the first three at least, who scores points, which can't be said for the numbers 2 and 3 in the championship. After the break, we'll be back with the rest of this weekend's races, starting of course with Supersport 2 and Sports Division.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Well, Greg Creamer, GoRacingTV.com has done it again. They've come up with reruns of the Viper Racing series, which you and I are kind of interested in.
Very interested in it. Folks, if you haven't seen this, tune in, because that racing is absolutely spectacular. These special spec cars that they've come up with, the performance level of these things, Tom, has been spectacular. The racing close, celebrity guest drivers of sorts that get in the mix and have some fun. And what it's actually turned into is an incredibly exciting series. In its debut year, but you can revisit it right here at GoRacingTV.com.
And about the fifth best thing about the series is that Greg and I host it. We'll see you on GoRacingTV.com coming up this season.
Way down the list.
Way down the list.
Welcome back, you're watching the Dutch Supercar Challenge on Motors Television. We're looking at Saturday's race in the Supersport 2 and Sports Division at the circuit of Zolder in Belgium. Pole position for the BMW 1 Series of John van der Voort and guest driver Henry Zumbrink. Yeah, pole position really shows the potential we have in this car. Henry Zumbrink first drove this car this weekend and he thinks the mechanical grip is remarkable. We still lack some engine power, but we should be able to win the race. Second place in Supersport 2 is in the hands of Jan van der Kooi with the Lotus Exige GT3. Zolder is always very demanding on the tires and brakes. We should be able to benefit greatly from the low weight of this car. Lots of tight bends and short straights. I'm happy with second place. We're on the first row and I still have to deal with some result seconds, but I'm sure we'll do fine. Belgian driver Luc de Kock with his Lotus 211 GT4 was aiming for pole position, but with technical problems, third place was all he could manage on his home track. Yeah, the car's weight should work in our favor, but we had some problems with the brakes during qualifying. The brake discs get too hot and the engine bay is generating too much heat as well. We hope to improve the cooling and this will make sure that we can complete the whole race. If the car works well, we can do great. And to leave nothing to chance, the team has invited a Sauber Formula 1 aerodynamic engineer.
We are introducing a few new parts on the car. Of course, a lot of taping. Tape is the best friend of an aerodynamicist, so taping holes and gaps and things like that. But also recommending the people here to improve cooling, to get more of the hot heat out of the engine bay and from the gearbox and so on. So, yeah. What I'm expecting, aerodynamics without calculation, without testing, it's quite difficult to say. So we'll see. I'm hoping that Luc is happy with the changes, and we're maybe not introducing all the changes in the first race, but hopefully for tomorrow.
So let's get ready to race. Henry Zumbrink and Jan van der Kooi first row, second row Luc de Kock and Dick van der Donk, third row Laurens Meijer and Nick Aerts. Fourth row, Pieter van Zoelen and Ferry Monster. And we're on board with Ferry Monster in the Saint Leon Supercopa. And he's the leader in the championship in Supersport 2. Waiting for the lights to go out, but something's wrong there because lights are not out and I see cars already overtaking while the lights were still on. So yeah, Ferry Monster, he's not sure what's happening all around him. Cars passing him left and right while the lights were still on. Okay, well that's for the clerk of the course to decide. We're on board with Ferry Monster and leading is Jan van der Kooi, or is he? Because there's Henry Zumbrink in the BMW, but Jan van der Kooi keeping position and taking the lead. Marcel Norbert taking a place off of Wim Juris, the Belgian Seeker car in the canal corner. And keep watching that say up because he will do that several times in this race. Jan van der Kooi outbraking the BMW. Whoa! And that's very close. Somebody's getting hit there. That's Luc de Kock going off into the side wall. And we're on board with Ferry Monster. Wim Juris in front of us. That's a Seeker braking for this corner. The Villeneuve chicane. And Pieter van Zoelen just going through your picture there. Went from 7 to 4. Replay of the Luc de Kock incident. We're on board with Mark van der Aa, and he saw it like this. It was the Mondeo touching, or rather nudging, the rear wheel of the 211. And they're in the pits now, but they're not looking at the rear wheel. They're looking at the front. Something seems to be wrong there. The start of the race was good actually, but in the chicane somebody hit me from the back. I think it was a Ford Mondeo, I don't know who it was, but it's a shame. But there was no harm done, except that I had to rejoin the race in the back of the field. And then 2 laps later, a stone hit my oil cooler, and that was the end of the race. We're happy the engine isn't broken, so tomorrow there's another day. So we're looking at Jan van der Kooi still leading, Henry Zumbrink in second place, and then it's Piet van Zoelen fighting for third place. We're on board with Mark van der Haar fighting for fifth place. He's challenging Nick Aerts in the Mondeo. Same goes for Peter van Zoelen, who's challenging another Mondeo. We're on board with Mark van der Haar, and he takes his place, fifth place there, and Peter van Zoelen takes third. That was close as well. They managed to keep the Mondeo on the road. Fight for first place. There's Henry Zumbrink in the BMW 1 Series and Jan van der Kooi. Jan van der Kooi, taking advantage of a big gap left by Henry Zumbrink, who couldn't close the door fast enough. Great race between these two. Look at them go. BMW not so tight in the corners, and but enough power, as you can see, to pull away from the Lotus, and that was all she wrote until the pit stops. It's John van der Voort taking over, and we speak with Henry Zumbrink. Yeah, it was great fun. I managed to take pole position during qualifying. It was a good race. I lost one place to the Lotus, but I could retake first place after a couple of laps. I hope John can keep the car in the lead so we can win this race. Well, John couldn't, and the BMW wouldn't. He had to park the car with mechanical problems. And that means the leader is gone and everything is open again. Well, not for Laurens Meyer, because he escapes a near death. Because Remco de Beus was turning his car around after he spun. I think they should take his license. Anyway, problems for the other JR Motorsport car as well. That's Richard van der Bos. He was in first place, but he isn't anymore. That leaves in first place Guillaume Schultz, who is doing very well in the Dutch Supercar Challenge, taking advantage of problems that others have. Art Bosman in second place, but still leading in the championship in the sports division. Problems for Ferry and Robin Monster as well. It's not a good time to be a leader. They had a long series of good results and even pole position at Spa-Francorchamps, but that series has come to an end. Well, the first part of the race was okay. During the pit stops, Robin took over the wheel, and after a few laps he heard a loud bang and the car was pulled to one side. I guess it's a drive shaft that snapped. So this time it's the end of our race. Luckily for them, it was also the end of the race for Mark van der Haar and Koen Bogaert. Yeah, the monsters dropped out of the race, and they were in front of me. That was good news for the championship, and my race was cut short 5 laps later. Zolder wears your car down really quickly, and this race was no exception. I think we have some electrical problem. All power was gone instantly. It's too bad. So there's nothing that can stop Peter van Zoelen from taking the win in this race. So let's listen to the man himself. Everything went great. The car was perfect. I'm very happy. The team did an excellent job. So let's take a look at the podium for this race. Saturday's race in Supersport 2, won by Peter van Zoelen. In second place, Nick Aerts in the Mondeo and Jan van der Kooi in the Lotus in third. Bob Herber and Laurens Meyer take fourth position. Dick van der Donk in fifth and Van Schelf and Braspenning in sixth. So Peter van Zoelen scores good points for the championship. He's now in sixth place. It's still Robin and Ferry Monster leading it in front of Koen Bogaert and Mark van der Haar. Marcel Norbert in the Zuidleon Supercopa in third. Apart from the bad result for Luc de Kock, it was a great weekend for Lotus drivers. It was amazing. I messed up the start of the race completely, but we still managed to take first and second place with Lotus today. And Jan van der Kooi took third place in the other class. It's a great day. French Lotus driver Guillaume Schultz takes the win in sports division. Art Bosman in second place and Edward Grauwels and Roger Grauwels, the only non-Lotus in the top 3, take third. Here's how the championship looks now. Art Bosman still leading, Guillaume Schultz in a good second place and Van der Bos and Van der Zweerde in third. After the break, we'll be back with more of the Dutch Supercar Challenge. We'll be looking at Sunday's races during the Super League Formula race weekend at the circuit of Zolder.
an amateur racer. Here at GoRacingTV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Welcome back. You're watching the Dutch Supercar Challenge on Motors Television. We're looking at Sunday's races. Hello there. You may have the moves, but I have the voice. The paddock was open to the public and everybody could see racing and the grid girls, of course, up close. It was time to take a close look at the cars of the Super League Formula in the paddock, walk around the grid, or stand a few meters away from the track and enjoying your favorite cars going round at speed. But we're here, of course, for the Dutchies, the Dutch Supercar Challenge. Cor Ozer taking pole position. He won the race on Saturday with the Marcos LM 600. Robert de Graaf in second place with the Audi R8 LMS GT3. And that's second row Ricker Bresch and Roger Gauwels, both in a Corvette. Third row, Alex van der Hoff in the Mosler and Diederik Seithoff, leader in the championship in the GT1 class in a Viper SRT 10. We're on board with Diederik Seithoff, third row, next to Alex van der Hoff in the Mosler, waiting for the lights to go out, and they're off, and it's Cor Ozer. And Alex van der Hoff takes fourth place, and Martin Sedlak in the orange Praga R4S takes the place as well and makes up for a bad position in Saturday's race. Nelson van der Poel, he had pole position, he's still leading, but he's under pressure there from several cars. And Martin Sedlak turns in on the Mondeo, and there's a carnage all around. Let's see what happens there. Martin Sedlak in the orange car turns in on the Mondeo. Mondeo like a tank, of course, and it's Sedlak hit by the Porsche. And again, two Porsches, one of them being Dirk Schultz. Lots of damage there, and he goes to the pits and he leaves a trail of cooling fluid on the racing line. And the race is over for Charlie Frans.
I
had a good start, basically. I managed to stay out of trouble in the first corner. I even overtook some competitors. But in the second corner, the Praga R4S spun, and I couldn't avoid hitting him. And there was no way I could escape a collision, and I smashed into the Praga R4S. My door is heavily damaged and the suspension is broken as well, so I can't go on with the race. Same goes for Dirk Schultz, his Porsche being towed away from the pits area, and it's Martin Sedlak in the pits as well with the orange Praga R4S. So what happened?
Oh, I don't know what exactly happened. Probably somebody in the second turn just hit me from the back. I don't know.
So let's take a look at the race, how it's going on. It's Cor Ozer with a bit of a gap to Robert de Graaf in the Audi. And it's Ricker Bresch, Alex van der Hoff, Roger Gauwels. And then Diederik Seithoff, leader in the championship. We're on board with him in the Viper. He knows his father is okay now, so he's unleashed. Now let's take a look at Supersport 1. It's still Nelson van der Poel, Jackie van den Ende, Barry Maassen has passed, Bert van der Zwede was in third. He was on the podium in Saturday's race. Robert de Graaf in the Audi has just been overtaken by Ricker Bresch in the Corvette, and he's not happy. There's a bit of fisticuffs there, and it's the big Corvette and the big Mosler who take advantage of the small Audi. And Roger Gauwels trying to take advantage there as well. Oh, there's a bit of a nudge there, and unbalanced in the Audi. It's Robert de Graaf being smacked around. He's all over the place. And no respect from the big bad bullies. There's Diederik Seithoff now, challenging him on the inside, looking for a way through the chicane, and Roger Grauls has a problem there. He runs wide and drops back. Rikke Bresch pulling away from Alex van Hoff. Oh, he makes a mistake there, it looks like it. Yes, and there's a bit of a fight there. Alex van Hoff having his hands full to keep the Mosler with the nose in the right direction on the black stuff. As Diederik Seithoff, everybody going off now. There must be some cooling fluid left there from the incident with the Porsche. They're going off left and right, and it's Jan Versluis who takes advantage in the Ferrari. Supersport 1, still Nelson van der Poel. There's some remains of the crash, and that could easily result in a puncture, so take care. We're on board with the Audi Robert de Graaf. He's fighting for second place with Alex van Hoff in the Mosler, and the Mosler seems to have a problem pulling away from the Audi. Bit of a waggle there as well. Still no traction on the big rear wheels of the Mosler. So it's Robert de Graaf taking second position. Third, Alex van Hoff. In fourth, Jan Versluis in the Ferrari, but there's Diederik Seithoff recovering from his mistake. Oh, and look at Rikke Bresch recovering from his mistakes. And that's all. That's Barry Marson going off there in the chicane. He took the lead briefly. Here you see it, trying to outbrake Nelson van der Poel, but he failed miserably. On board with Diederik Seithoff, Jan Versluis in the Ferrari, fight for fourth place. Outbreaking the Ferrari in the corner on the inside, staying on the clean stuff. Because on the racing line, you know, of course, is still that cooling fluid from the Porsche. Rikke Bresch pulling out, taking fifth place. And that means Jan Versluis is now in sixth. Rikke Bresch is on the go again. Using all the grunt in the C6R Corvette. On the outside now, Diederik Seithoff challenging for fourth place, and he takes fourth place. Is there anyone who can stop this Corvette? Well, maybe Diederik Seithoff is pulling up alongside on the straight, but he has no grunt. The grunt in the Corvette is bigger. Outbreaking the Corvette is even more difficult. Corvette, of course, is the Le Mans car. We're on board with Diederik Seithoff, and we see Rikke Bresch taking third place. Diederik Seithoff going to fourth. Something's wrong with Alex van Hoff, and it looks like momentarily Alex van Hoff is out of power. He will be overtaken by Roger Grauls shortly, and something's very wrong there with this Praga R4S. The Slovakian car overheating in a big way and showing big flames out of the back of the Slovakian car of Daniel Landa. Dutch Supercar Challenge being very international. The other Praga R4S in the pits, and that's Barry Van Elk. Still some work to do for the Slovakian engineers. It seems that the Hayabusa engines in the back of this very fast car need some cooling desperately. Anyway, back in the race, Rikke Bresch, remember him? He was on a charge, now aiming for second place, still in the hands of the Audi of Robert de Graaf. It's the big bad wolf against Little Red Riding Hood. And it's the wolf that's winning. Rikke Bresch, or is he? Because Robert de Graaf fighting back, and that was a fantastic fight. Basically a repeat of the fight we saw at Spa-Francorchamps. And this went on for lap after lap after lap. Anyway, Bert van der Zweerde has to park his Silhouette BMW, his race over. That means that now in first place, Wolf Nathan and Jaap van Laage in the Porsche, taking revenge for the very bad result on Saturday. And this, of course, all happened after the pit stops. In first place, Diederik Seithoff. In second place, again, Rikke Bresch. In third, Cor Ozer dropped back after the pit stops. In fourth, it's Roger Gauls. And fifth, it's Ardy van der Hoek in the Audi. Now, get set. Don't touch that dial because this is going to be very exciting. Ardy van der Hoek trying to take fourth place of Roger Gauls in the C5R Corvette. Chasing him, of course, in the Audi R8 LMS. And this is the fight for the lead on the inside corner now. No, outside corner. It's Rikke Bresch, Didier Seithoff doing almost everything allowed to keep that Corvette behind him. There's a little nudge again. Fighting through the canal corner all the way around the circuit. Cor Ozer is waiting for these two to make a mistake and to take advantage. But it's Didier Seithoff for now in first place. But Rikke Bresch doesn't want to take any prisoners. He doesn't want to take any chances at all that he loses. Well, pulled there. There is Cor Ozer. I told you, the smallest mistake by these two, and he's there. Cor Ozer in the somewhat aging LM600, and he takes second place. And Rikke Bresch seems to have passed him. A bit of nudging there, and it seems to be that oversteered nudge by the Corvette as taking all the power out of the LM600, and Cor Ozer drops back. Oh, Rikke Bresch! Rikke Bresch! Fantastic race, ending in the gravel pit. That is a shame. Maybe some damage there as well, or a puncture that sent him off into the gravel trap. Or he was just too fast. Who knows? Anyway, that leaves Roger Gauls and Ardy van der Hoek fighting for third place. You don't want to miss this because Ardy van der Hoek has a lust for more. And now he's okay for third place. He's on the right side, but there's a yellow flag because of Rikke Bresch's car that's still parked there. And he has to give third place back to Roger Gauls in the Rudolf Corvette. De Graaf again. Outbraking this time on the inside, going into the chicane after the long straight here. And the team is very happy with that move. It looks like they've already won the race, but that's not true. Because there's Didier Seithoff winning it, taking this one for his father. In second place, Cor Ozer. And in third, the Audi on the podium. Yeah, my father asked me to win this race for him, and I did. So this one's for you, Dad. So let's take a look at the results of this race. Didier Seithoff again winning it for his father. Cor Ozer in second place, and Robert de Graaf and Ardy van der Hoek in third. Seithoff still leading. Van der Hoek and de Graaf in second place, and Roger Gauls now in third. Moving on to Supersport 1. A great result for Porsche team Jaap van Lagen and Wolf Nathan. In second place, Nelson van der Poel, and we speak with Jackie van der Ende.
Yeah, this
is a great weekend for us. Yesterday I took second place, and today in the dry weather conditions I managed to take third place. It's amazing for the championship. Super. Indeed. Because he's now in third place. Bert van der Zwirden drops back to second place, and new leaders are Wolf Nathan and Jaap van Lagen. Stay with us because we still have one race to go during the Zolder Super League Formula weekend. And that's of course the Supersport 2 and Sports Division. So don't move, we'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natcher, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, Go Racing TV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
Welcome back. It's Super Sunday for the Dutch Supercar Challenge during the Super League Formula Weekend. And it's very super out here. We're going to watch the Super Sport 2 and Sports Division. Pole position in Super Sport 2 is Pieter van Zullen. Next to him, Nick Aerts in the Mondeo. Second row, Jan van der Kooi and Laurens Meijer, Lotus Exige and Seeker GT. We're waiting for the lights to go out here at Zolder for the last time this weekend, and we're off. Pieter van Zullen taking the lead, Nick Aerts in second place. Good start by Marcel Norbert in the Sail Leon Supercopa. He's challenging for 4th place. There he is in 4th place in front of Jan van der Kooi. Pieter van Zullen, Nick Aerts. And there he is again on the inside now, taking almost 3rd place. Off of Laurens Meijer. Oh, still standing water in the canal corner. And that could be a problem for somebody. But not for Marcel Norbert, because he's not impressed by the water at all. He goes on and taking the fight to the guys in front of him. We're on board with Edward Gauwels. Oh, there's a big wobble, and that's the standing water problem. And then you face the whole field coming through there, and everybody trying to avoid him and spinning around. Luckily, nobody got hurt there. Now, let's take a look at the Orange Lotus, because that's Jan van der Kooi. He dropped back 2 places, and best start was for Marcel Norbert in the red, white and blue Seat. He's now in 3rd place, overtaking Laurens Meijer, and that means he started 7th and is now in 3rd. Jan van der Kooi once more as well. He takes it to the Seeker on the inside, or on the outside rather, braking for the corner, and that's very, very wrong, and he nearly hit by one of the Mondeo tanks. That could have been disastrous. Jan van der Kooi in the gravel trap. What happened there? He's on the outside of the Seeker. He's past him, and then something locks up. Maybe a shift lock or something, and he's off into the gravel, and then one of the Mondeo tanks nearly hitting him. Nick Aerts in 2nd place. It's the fight for 2nd place. It's Marcel Norbert in the Seat. On the inside, canal corner, still some water there. Should be as well, because it's the canal corner. No pun intended. And there we are, Marcel Norbert, making life very difficult for Nick Aerts in the Mondeo. Norbert coming out of the slipstream, outbraking the Mondeo in the Seat and taking 2nd place. Now this is the Sport Division. Guillaume Schultz is leading from pole position. Behind him is Art Bosman in another Lotus, and then this is the fight for 3rd place. There goes Eric van der Munkhoff in the Focus Silhouette, passing his team colleague there. We jump ahead in the race, and that's Luc de Kock challenging Marcel Norbert for 2nd place. Norbert experiencing some turbo problems. He's past Marcel Norbert, but then he's hit by one of the Clios on the front end of the Lotus, and he loses the aerodynamic advantages that he had over the Seat with turbo problems. So Marcel Norbert comes back at him and punts him off. Now that was not very nice. And he should be punished for that. And he was punished for that. Let's take a look at that again. Marcel Norbert trying to outbrake himself, and Luc de Kock pays the price. Yeah, during the race in Assen, somebody ran over me. Yesterday, Nick Aerts hit me from the back, and now there was some sort of a kamikaze move. In my opinion, he's completely incapable of driving a race car. I don't want to have any part in this anymore. So let's take a look at the race. It's Peter van Zullen leading as he comes in to take his pit stop. Mark van der Aar is waiting for Koen Bogaerts to bring the BMW in, and there he is. No result seconds for Mark van der Aar, so he takes the lead in the pits. Whoa, that's Robert Bale. And if you want to translate Bale, it's axe. And he axed Peter van Zullen here. Van Zullen could continue the race, but Robert Bale didn't. His teammate is running, there he is, in the Seat. Big mistake by the team of Peter van Zullen, because they shouldn't have let him go as the Seat was coming down the pits. Anyway, Van Zullen challenging for the lead. After all the bad luck we had yesterday, we are finally having a great race, says Koen Bogaerts after he handed over the car to his teammate Mark van der Aar. We've improved the car on a lot of points. The car was much more stable. I fought my way forward and had some great fights. Competition is very hard. And we are now in first position, and I hope we can keep this. Good thing about this team is that both drivers are sort of equal, and Mark van der Aar is doing everything he can to keep Peter van Zullen behind him. Still water in the canal corner, but that's of no influence on these two. Fantastic fight between the two teammates at JR Motorsport. Peter van Zullen in the E46 coming out of the slipstream, trying to outbrake Mark van der Aar in the 1 Series, and he does. Great move by Peter van Zullen. Not so great move by Ronald van Loon. Yeah, at the beginning of the race everything was fine. After a while the car was getting more and more unstable. I guess I was pushing too hard at the Bianchi corner, so I hit the curbs and went onto the grass. I lost all control of the car. First I thought I could correct the spin, but I ended up in the tire wall. It was quite a hard blow. So back in the sports division, it's still Guillaume Schultz who's leading in the pits. And he's moving out again. He's doing very well. It's the first time he drove at the Zolder circuit, so kudos for him, which can't be said for Aart Bosman because technical problems, and he's out of the race. Yeah, this is such a shame. I was in 10th place overall after the pit stops. I had to stand still for over a minute, much longer than all the other competitors because of the result seconds that I had. And in the last lap, I blew a gasket. Oh well, these things can happen. We still have 6 more races to go. So everybody moves up a place. That means that Guillaume Schultz is leading. Erik van der Munkhoff is now in 2nd place, and in 3rd place, Marcel Bello in the Focus we see here. Rob Newman is challenging for 3rd. Moving closer and closer to the Focus. And then Van Berlo spins and gives away the podium. Peter van Zullen, there's no way that he's not going to be on the podium unless the BMW breaks down. And there it is. Checkered flag is waiting. He takes the win. Mark van der Aar and Koen Bogaerts end up in 2nd place and take revenge for the bad result on Saturday. Yeah, Koen had a great start. He brought the car in second place, so I could take the lead during the pit stops. I was in front of Peter van Zullen, but he was too quick for me. I tried to take it easy and consolidate second place, and that was no problem. Yeah, the Monster Brothers finished 9th. I'm sorry, guys, but this is a great result for us. Third on the podium, Laurens Meijer and Bob Herbert in the Seeker. The Monster Brothers ended up in 9th, and that hurts for the championship. Marcel Norbert is dropped back to 6th place because of his penalty for punting off Luc de Kock. Ferry Monster and Robin Monster still leading the championship, but only 5 points ahead of Koen Bogaert and Mark van der Aa. In Sports Division, great win by Guillaume Schultz, and even greater second place by Erik van der Munkhoff. I'm so happy. I told everybody that I would end up on the podium today, and I did. Yes, very happy. Guillaume Schultz in first place, Erik van der Munkhoff is second, and Rob Niemann in third. That's the official list. In the Sports Division, let's take a look at the standings. Art Bosman still leading, but only 2 points ahead of Guillaume Schultz. Exciting? Yes, it is, in the Dutch Supercar Challenge. And so we come to an end of another episode of the Dutch Supercar Challenge. At the end of this month, we'll be back with the next race, and that'll be the Gamma Racing Days in Assen. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.